this, you made a very sweeping statement, a prejudice from the spiritual dimension. I want you to understand spiritually, there is no mention of menstrual cycles anywhere because spiritually you cannot have menstrual cycles. Only physiologically you can have, okay? So it's a physiological issue which reflects as a psychological factor in a certain segment of women, I wouldn't say everyone, but quite a substantial segment of women find a reflection of their physiological process in their psychological makeup, which is a fact that has to be taken care of. If this is being said only because some temples and other things have said women cannot enter, even today, there will be one or two priests who are trained here. When on Saturdays or on a significant Saturday, whatever those Saturdays are, on those days, he will come and sit on a seat which is full of sharp nails. He will sit on this and attend to people's questions and problems and whatever. He will sit on this for hours on end. People come here with variety of things, largely for influence of occult, or they feel they are possessed or something like this. Because such things are done, the energies are kept in a certain way in the sanctum, which is not very conducive for a woman. Can a woman not enter there at all? She can if she is trained particularly for that, but it would be much more difficult to train a woman on these things than training a man on these things, simply because of a few biological advantages man has in these areas of life. Especially a woman who is in a state of pregnancy or in menstrual cycle should never enter such a space because she is very susceptible or vulnerable at those times that she could be deeply impacted by these forces. And today somebody thinks this is discrimination. One must know the difference between discrimination and discretion. This is a certain discretion, but maybe the way it is enforced, I don't know how they've enforced, I have not been there. Maybe the way they're enforcing is crude and seems discriminatory. Probably, I'm saying, because it's not designed for them. It's not discriminatory. It's just a certain discretion, which has to be… If we don't employ discretion, then life will become very ugly and rudimentary. Don't treat every temple like it's some kind of a place of worship, it's not a place of worship. So they're designed in a certain way for a certain purpose. It needs to be conducted that way, otherwise there'll be no meaning to it. At that time, you need to understand this, from where this comes from. Today's woman, you forget about her, okay? How she's equipped, how she's capable of handling her bodily needs and other things are a different matter. I want you to look back 1,000 years ago. What kind of sanitary facilities did she have? What kind of processes did she have? So, there could be issues about that, isn't it? It's only for that reason, they said, and above all, you need to understand the level of physical activity for a normal woman in those days. Cooking for 15-20 people, taking care of the cows, taking care of the children, everything is hers. It's a tremendous amount of physical activity. So, the woman who is going through a certain process of her cycle, she gets 3 days, 4 days break from everything. Isn't that a wonderful thing? Because that's a time where it is almost like a molting period for a woman on one level. It's not as big as molting, but it's almost like that. That's a time where she needs to be cared for, protected, taken care of. Somebody else cooks for you, which never happens in her life. Every day she cooks. For those 3-4 days, somebody else cooks for her, somebody else serves her food. She sits alone by herself, she meditates, she sings, she does prayer. Isn't this a good way of doing things, I'm asking? Do not consider this as today's life. Look back 1,000 years ago when these things were made. It was a very good way of protecting our women. But over a period of time, somebody makes this a discriminatory process. A woman should not come here, should not come there. That is just out of ignorance, certain things happen. It has nothing to do with the spiritual world.
And first of all, this idea of pure and impure is a very sick idea. There's just life around you. There's only life around you. If you're labeling certain aspects of life as pure and certain aspects of life as impure, there is a serious problem. I want you to understand this problem is far more serious than most people really look at. It is that serious. Right now, many religions and cultures on the planet have labeled the fundamental biology itself as impure. Yes? Yes or no? The basic biological processes themselves as impure. Sexuality is impure, a woman's menstrual cycles are impure. What the hell, you're born out of it? Then you are also impure, everything in the world is impure, creation is impure. If you like that word, you can use it. But who are you to decide what is pure and impure? This is the way life is made, isn't it?
Because if my mother did not have menstrual cycles, I wouldn't be born. Okay? Yes or no? We are born from that, if that is impure, our very birth is impure and the creation is impure. It's a ridiculous thought even to think like that. It is not because of purity and impurity this has come, it has come for practical reasons. Even today I meet thousands of women who suffer a lot at that time because they still have to go to work, they still have to deal with everything. There are many of them who are on medication at that time just to keep their psychological balance. They would definitely enjoy rest, they would definitely enjoy a little bit of seclusion from everything that they are doing. But thinking it is pure, impure question is coming in a very rudimentary mind. It is no sense in… no fundamental sense about life.